Hang on just a sec. I got to finish my last World Guild Battle match. I'll be right with you. So we've already picked a hard counter to this enemy defense. This should be fine. We've got a speed lead. They don't. Here. Oh, they get to move first. Oh, that's great. There goes my nuker. And I haven't had a turn yet. They're proccing. Oh, so that's nice. Okay, I'm down to just my healer. No, they procced again. Yeah, so I didn't get a turn. That was a lot of fun. Let's move on to something that's a bit more fun. Guild Siege Glory, episode 11. Let's go. So welcome back to the Guild Siege Glory series. This is episode 11, and I've had a lot of requests, both in our guild here, gang, and also a couple of requests on YouTube on, hey, can you cover some Nat 5 defenses that are easy to build? So I did pick one team, Theomars, Tesarion, and Riley. Both of the Ifrits you can get from Ifrit pieces, so you just need to get guild points. And within a couple, 2, 3, 4 months of playing the game, you should be able to get both of those. And then Riley is a fusion unit. Just need to fuse her. So this is entirely free to play. And one of the requests I had was from my guildmates was to actually talk through the process as I'm ruining the monsters. And I'm going to do that somewhat. Don't need to make this video 60 minutes long because no one's going to watch it. But we'll talk about how each one should be built. And so we made Riley speed, HP, and we focused on, so Riley does not need accuracy. She does not need crit rate or crit damage. And attack is only, her first skill is not very powerful. Extra attack will help, but what you really want to focus on with Riley is resistance, HP, defense, speed, and just give her gobs of those. Now, one of the things you'll see from me doing this video is that I am thin on violent runes. Riley is somewhat easy to rune for this team in particular because Tesarion is a 41% resistance lead, so she only needs 59% resistance to have 100%. She should be way faster. Defense is 1200 total, which is not horrible, and only 26k HP, which is way too low. So we're going to continue ruining this Riley up a bit, and we'll see her speed rune is maxed, but both her HP are not. So we're going to go ahead and max those, and then what we're looking for in artifacts is basically damage reduction. Skill 3 recovery, which I think, yes, so, and a defense up effect. Now there won't be a defense buff on this particular team, but when I pair her with other teams that give a defense buff, then that will help her. Like I said, we're very thin on artifacts. That one's actually okay for now. Let's see if we have a better crit damage taken went up and defense went up. This is probably the winner. So we're going to see if we can do a conversion here. See if that gets us anything. Skill 1 recovery, we'll take that. So now we got skill 1 and skill 3 recovery. So as far as, early game or approaching mid game maybe, artifacts, it's not horrible. We boosted 3 of her runes up to plus 15. She's now plus 20k HP, so she's up over 30, but that's still low. So that's one of the problems, is I do not have a lot of HP percent substats. So we could use one here and get rid of that accuracy. We could use another one here and get rid of that crit rate. Right, no, we can't. We've already gemmed. So we just need a better rune here. It's not a permanent rune for her. Okay, so our next job in this video is to re-rune Theomars and Tesarion. Both are not set up properly for this team. Tesarion's closer than Theomars. Theomars is way off. So Tesarion, ideally we make him a little bit tankier than he is, with more attack and a little bit more speed and a little bit higher crit rate, but definitely needs more resistance and needs more accuracy, because for now we're going to have Tesarion be our setup guy. So we're hoping that Tesarion, so Riley will move first, do the attack buff. Tesarion will go in and try to do the defense break in Oblivion, and then Theomars will come in and do damage. So that's the plan. And so he's not too far away from being able to do his job. Theomars is way off. So decent HP, although since this is a turn 2 team, probably needs a bit more. Definitely needs a lot more attack, a little bit more speed. We don't want him getting cut right after Tesarion moves. Crit rate could be a little higher. Crit damage definitely needs to be higher. Resistance needs a little more. And accuracy won't be as important, but if we can have some on there so that he can also defense, break, and dot, that would be great. But you can see his rune setup is speed, HP, attack, and that's not good for him. As a damage dealer, we want it to be attack, crit damage, attack, or we might need to do attack, crit damage, HP, so that he's tanky enough. And then we need to find speed and subs. So that's kind of where we're at, and we will come back after we've had a chance to re-rune both of them and talk about the differences. All right, we're back. We've done a ton of re-runing. In fact, we went back and re-runed Riley. It was really bothering me that she was below 200 speed, because in order for her to do her job, she needs to be getting more turns and just be faster. And so I went through and re-runed her again. I managed to keep her on violent, but she's now plus 125 speed. So total speed is 222, which to me is a lot better. We got her to 58% resistance. She only needs 1 more % resistance. She doesn't need accuracy. I lowered that number to 11. And then these stats don't look great, but this is an important point, is you want to choose runes that have as much grindable potential as possible, especially when you don't need crit rate, you don't need crit damage, and you don't need accuracy, which are 3 of the stats that are not grindable. So really the only non-grindable stat you have is resistance. So we're stuck at 58, which is fine. But when you look at the runes here, I switched her to Violent Nemesis because I just could not get her faster on Violent Will. I just don't have it. And so, but several of the runes changed because I really wanted to leave more room for growth to improve her stats without changing runes. So you can see here, we've got 3 grindable stats here, and we can gem out crit damage, which is not necessary for her, to HP %. And so this rune, while it's not a great rune, it'll definitely help her once I grind everything. Here we have another rune with 3 grindables already. She doesn't need crit rate, so we will gem in HP % to help there. This one is already, so I gemmed in flat HP because she didn't need anything else. So now we can grind all 4 of these stats. Here we had a Nemesis rune that we got to 22 speed with a grind, and the other 3 stats are all grindable. And then here we have another Nemesis rune with 4 grindable stats. I'm sorry, 3 grindable stats plus resistance. And resistance is a 7 out of 8. So that's about as good as you can get on resistance. And then here you've got speed, resistance, and defense, which all help her. Then you've got accuracy, which she doesn't need. And I can gem in HP % here. So even though her stats are not looking very good right now, every single rune has 3, or once I've done all the gemming and grinding, has 3 or 4 grindable stats. So her stats will go way up. And we still haven't even... let's go ahead and plus 15 this one now. So Riley's ready to move first at 222, which allows us to make Tesarion and Theomars faster. So we stuck with our plan of making Tesarion our setup guy to hopefully put Oblivion on and put in a defense break. So with Tesarion, I went, you can look at his overall stats. I could not make him a damage dealer and a setup guy with the runes I have. I just couldn't do it. Now, ideally, Tesarion would be on Will. And he'd also be at least a minimal damage dealer, but I just didn't have the runes for that. So we went with Violent Shield. We went with all basically defense stats with a little bit of attack. So he's on speed, HP, defense. And that was done to allow him to have 60% accuracy, 53% resistance, and plus 101 speed. So Tesarion's at 201 speed, total speed. And if you look at the runes, yes, this one is maxed, but we can speed grind here. That's only a 2 grind on that rune. We can speed grind here. Now this is a really nice 21 speed, but it's an ancient rune. The chances we ever get grinds for this are fairly low. But if we ever do get an ancient shield rune speed grind, this can go all the way up to 26. So that's really nice. And all the other stats help him too. Could even eventually change out this flat defense to resistance. But then we can also grind the speed here. But the point is that we still have 4 other runes, really 5 runes, that we could grind speed on every rune and get him much closer to where he's just behind Riley. So Riley goes, he goes right away, and then Theomars can go after that. So Theomars is at 192 speed. I just could not get him fast enough with an attack percent on slot 2. If I did that, his total speed was going to be 150, which was going to allow almost everybody to cut before he took his turn. So we had to go speed. We got a decent attack, 1 roll into attack plus a grind here. Some nice crit rate there. Another attack percent here that we can grind. A decent attack percent here. And we actually went HP percent here to make him tankier because he's only at 20,000 HP, and that's just too low. If we went with an attack percent, he was at like 16k HP, which means he would just die. So we had to go there, and we have a flat HP here that we can change into either HP percent or attack percent based on how he's performing. And we still have to... let's try to get this up to plus 15. We might not have enough mana, but we'll try. But you'll notice he's at 93% crit rate, 190% crit damage. Now his attack's not very good because it's only 1400, but he will always crit because he gets an extra 15% crit rate from his passive. So as long as his passive is not Oblivioned, then he will always crit, and he's going to be doing 190% crit damage, which is pretty good. It's just that his attack is low. And so we will definitely try to improve this over time, but eventually we are going to want to put an attack percent on slot 2 once we get better speed elsewhere. Because yeah, we got 14 speed here. We got 10 there. No speed here. 16 and 10. But 2 grindable stats here. 2 grindable stats here, and that resistance is really low. We can maybe grind in something better there. Attack percent and crit rate both help a lot. High resistance roll. Defense plus 6% is really not all that special. We could convert that into speed or accuracy or something else that would be more valuable. We could turn that into HP percent. So there's a lot of options there. And, oh, we did actually make it up to plus 15. That's great. So we've got this flat attack here that we could turn into attack percent. So it's ready to be tested. It's all runed up. We're going to see how it goes. We actually had a member leave the guild. So we've got an open spot here. We're going to throw this in and start seeing how that defense does. And we're also going to do a little testing on it too right now. So let's do a little testing. So we did outspeed. We're going to attack buff up. Okay, so we're going to see that Theomars does have will runes, so we're going to do an attack break on Tesarion. Didn't work. Resistance help there. We're going to go after Tesarion first. We got the defense break on him, so let's see if we can pound him. That did almost nothing. Okay, there went our nuker. Violet runes are just nuts on defense. It's just part of the game right now. And I don't see that changing anytime soon. So that's exactly why you want this defense. All 3 are on violent. So even if you think you can come in with a team and beat them, you might it might not happen. So now, but that was one of my weaker offenses. Let's see if we can copper bulldozer this team. I'm thinking we can, but let's see. Because I just don't think they're tanky enough yet with their runes. So we're going to use bulldozer to go after Tesarion. So we're going to use copper to go after Theomars. And we can't do that because now Theomars' passive kicks in. But now Theomars is open. So let's get rid of Theomars. And then we can slow up.
Nope.
But now we've taken out the primary damage dealer. We can't. They have immunity right now. So we're trying to see. There we go. We got a stun. We did almost no damage to Tesarion. And I believe that's because of the artifacts I chose, which I thought were pretty good artifacts. We're actually in trouble. And so now our defense is down. Yeah, we did almost nothing. Let's see if we can do skill 3 on him. It only took half. And Riley has already healed him up. And now it's just the violent proc and toxic unit show. Okay, now I might have misplayed that. Instead of using copper to go after Theomars, we're going to use bulldozer to try to take out Tesarion. And that was not enough. And there he goes in. And he just got a ton of turns. So now I'm now defense broken, which means copper is unlikely to be able to really nuke Tesarion, but we're going to try.
Nope.
Nope. So his defense was now too low. And so I think this team is also screwed here. We will do our best to see maybe we can stun.
Nope.
No. Resisted the stun. We've got 30% attack buff from Bernard, and we've got free it to outspeed, so we are definitely an outspeed. But we do not have an attack buff from a monster. It's just this. It's just the leader skill. But is it enough? And let's go ahead. It doesn't really matter. We can try to defense break Tesarion. It doesn't matter really. And I was unable to Lucian. In fact, we're gonna have to re-watch that and see how much damage we did on Tesarion, because he's back to full health. So let's take a look at this again. Okay, so here we go. Here's Lucian's attack. And we can see the first hit was a crit and did 4,400. But the next two glanced and only did 1,400 per hit. So Tesarion really absorbed that blow pretty easily. My Lucian is actually fairly nice. So it's plus 2,200 attack, 100% crit rate, 171% crit damage. Now that's where his stats are low. You really want Lucian for the Dots team to be at like 220, or you want even higher attack and like 200% crit damage. But this is not a wimpy Lucian. He actually hits fairly hard. This is Tesarion's artifacts. He has plus 10% crit damage if he does crit. Now his crit rate is only 15, so he's not really going to be doing that. But defense, proportional lost HP, maximum 20%. Additional damage by 3% of attack. And I'm still working on re-rolling this damage from light. That's not going to stay. We're gonna try to, but 3 useful stats for Tesarion, and then additional damage by 3%, and then defense proportional lost HP max 47%. Between the two artifacts, when he loses HP, his defense goes through the roof. So total of 67% more defense when his HP gets low. And then he also has skill 1 and skill 2 accuracy. So even though his accuracy is only 60, it's really 66% for both skills. And you can see he's already at 1,400 defense. So then if you tank on another 67% defense as his HP is going down, he's going to be hard to kill. And we saw that when Lucian barely touched him. And resistance is at 53, so I like his artifacts. They're not amazing, but they're pretty good. Theomars wasn't quite as lucky, but still not bad. And we haven't even maxed this one yet. Damage dealt on fire is a little bit higher. That doesn't really matter much. Another 3% crit damage on a single target, and that's all he does is single target. And then attack proportionate to lost HP, 53%, and defense, another 14%. And then crit damage is less enemy HP, skill 2 accuracy, so he does have a little more accuracy to land his defense break. And then additional damage by attack and speed. And this one's not maxed either, so his attack is going to look better once I get those artifacts maxed. I absolutely have to get a shout out to our guild, the Here Gang. We've attracted several players who know their stuff about Siege. One of them is FunnyWake21. And I had a more commentary planned for this video, but I don't need to do that anymore. Because as we know, with all Siege defenses, there are counter offenses that are designed to take care of defenses very well. And Funny saw me throwing my successful defense is out in guild chat, and he's like, okay, here you go. He brought in his offense that is a clear counter to this defense. When you're using a really well-designed counter offense to a defense, the defenses don't stand much of a chance. One of the problems with this defense is it doesn't have any kind of strip. So if an offense comes in with invincibility, it really makes this defense hard to survive. So thanks to Funny Wake for putting me in my spot. I love the amount of monsters that Funny Wake has built, and his rune quality is probably G1, G2 Siege. Great to have him in the guild. There's several others too that are really good. In fact, in our next episode, we're going to talk about how the Here Gang hit G1 Siege. We didn't win our first one, but we're playing. So until we get to the next episode, I hope you guys have a good evening, day, afternoon, whatever it is for you, and we'll see you in the next one.